even as this shutdown drags on, we have not seen Mitch McConnell really play a leading role in the negotiations to try to resolve this thing. And really, this is a very unfamiliar spot for McConnell. Here's a guy who has a history of trying to make deals.
The political stunts are not going to get us anywhere.
Here's somebody who is a sort of savvy political strategist.
In previous government shutdowns, the Senate's done business.
And yet, by choice, he has removed himself from these negotiations. And we can see a couple of reasons for why he has done that. If you go back to December, he thought that he had a deal to avert a government shutdown. He moved forward with a vote that would fund the government temporarily, and he got the unanimous support.
Let's pass it. Let's finish our work for this year. Let's secure our country.
But then what happened? The president himself said, you know what, I'm not going to sign this. And so looking at that, McConnell observed the situation and said, look, this now has to be a deal between Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker, Chuck Schumer, the Democratic Senate leader, and the president. And until they can come to a deal, I'm not going to play a role in this.
No further votes will occur until the president and Senate Democrats have reached an agreement to resolve this.
He's somebody who never says anything by accident. Everything he says and does is usually pretty calculated. And right now, his position is pretty firm, and it's been the same for the past few weeks. But Democrats say, look, you need to use your clout, use your power. You're the majority leader. If you were to just hold a vote on these bills, maybe that would pressure the president to do something. But right now, I think what he's trying to do is show that he is on the side of President Trump. Every time Nancy Pelosi does something or says something that's antagonistic to Trump, whether it's about the State of the Union or something else, he wants to show that he's aligned with Trump.
But these days, it seems like Democrats are happy to take their cues from the gentlelady from San Francisco and her extreme fringe position that walls have now become immoral? Really?
But when you look forward, there's a reason why McConnell needs to work with Trump and why he needs a lot of his fellow Republican senators to work with Trump. McConnell's up for re-election in 2020. He's up in a state that's very conservative, a state that supported Trump very, very strongly in 2016 and is expected to do so in 2020. And so if you're McConnell and you stray too far from Trump, you could draw a primary challenger, you could draw somebody who runs against you and says you're not a strong enough supporter for the president. That can be very dangerous. And when McConnell looks at his Republican colleagues, a number of them are up for re-election in 2020, and he knows the same thing could happen to them. For McConnell, it's clear that he politically can't really afford to distance himself too much from Trump, because that could get really dangerous for him as he tries to win another term in the Senate. And when you talk to a lot of Republicans, they look at this situation and they say, well, he doesn't really have a choice at this point. It's a tough situation for him to be in. Essentially, what McConnell has done is he's put his own future and the future of the other 52 Republicans in the hands of Donald Trump, who has been an unpredictable president. So it's a little bit of a risk for McConnell right now that he's taking as he sort of steps back and lets others take the lead on this.